Good morning. So I woke up in a tremendous amount of pain. So I decided to try to just take a quick walk down to the beach, my favorite spot, and get some stretching in. So God is so good. I found this beautiful rock just sitting here. That's one of the reasons he's so good, but that's not what I was gonna say. So as you step out into the world and as you're drawing closer to God and bringing other people through your testimony closer to God, the devil tries to use tactics to throw you off course or fill you with fear, right? So I started getting stalked, and the first time it happened, the person had been dropping off letters and notes to my stepdads and trying to find out how to get a hold of me and my contact information, yada yada. So they found me on the beach one day, and my discernment instantly kicked in. I had no idea it was even the same person doing this. And I grabbed my stuff and I walked down that trail the fastest my body's ever carried me, right? And the person found me on the boardwalk, and I just kept saying over and over, leave me alone, I don't want to talk, go away. His spirit was agitating my spirit, right? So he wouldn't leave, and I did end up getting to the point of screaming and cursing him out, which is never right. What happens when I get afraid, I instantly go into symptoms. So my arms started locking up, I started losing my vision, started getting the Tourette's, and then it's only a matter of minutes before I go into seizures. So luckily I was really close to home, but the second I got home, then I was flared up in seizures and parts of me paralysis and stuff. And once I hit that level, it's kind of like all day then you're on that roller coaster of symptoms, right? So then the second time, then he brought the letter to the house, whatever, after the day on the boardwalk, and my stepdad came over, and it put me in a horrible flare-up again. And my pastor happened to be at the church that day, and I was like, could we just talk for a minute? And he, calmed me down, and I'm like, I gotta work through this, because every time I get scared, I go into Tourette's, paralysis, instant seizures, like my body just, you know what I mean? So he calmed me down, and then the person's still going to my stepdad's, whatever, and I just told him, don't even come to my house telling me anymore. My home's my sanctuary, you're going to talk about it, leave, I don't want to hear it. And then yesterday, my son and his friends had seen him, and my son's a protector, so my son confronted him to say, yo, leave my mom alone, stop following her, she doesn't want to talk to you, and he was with a group of his friends, and they didn't threaten him or anything, but they're like, you have to leave her alone, So in the letter, he references, so then he, at that point, said, I need you to give this to your mom, and had been riding around on his bicycle around town carrying another letter just to give to me. And at this point, I know he knows where I live and stuff, right? And so it was a 4-page letter he gave to my son. My son obviously opened it and read it before I got home. And I read it, and what the point of this story is because our first encounter was on the beach, and then that long wooded trail you walk down to, that used to be my peace. I used to walk and say Psalm 23. I'd pull it up on my screen every time walking through there, and that was my favorite walk through all of Geneva, was that wooded area and being on the beach. And then I found myself filled with anxiety and walking fast and looking behind me, and it took the peace, right? And it was a tactic of the devil to take the one peaceful thing that I do for myself every day of my favorite spot in all of Geneva and turn it into something to fill me with fear and anxiety over peace and love, and it being my outlet, right? So God just exposed another area of my mind I have to work in. And then of course, because the devil's so witty, the thing with my son happened while I was at the concert. So typically I'd get that information, and I'm already on high stimulus and levels and pain to get through it all. So I find out about the letter that he hands my son while I'm at the concert, and I, feel myself like, oh no, because once I get there, I'm done, and I just messaged my pastor because I couldn't like calm it down. I didn't want to get riled up, and I knew it was the devil because, I'm at the concert and stuff. And then he just calmed me down, and I got through the concert and had a great time, And today I'm just going to bring the letter to the police department, because even in the letter, one of my friends who has a restraining order against him, he references him, and so I'm going to give it over to them. And you can't have fear and faith. So me allowing that fear in my life allowed a foothold for the devil. And then I start feeling a little agoraphobic. But then you think like, hey, if I'm only talking to thousands or hundreds of people now, what would happen if I'm like talking to millions and this and that? And then, the devil wants to fill you with fear so you don't fulfill your destiny, so you don't step out in the public eye. So you're scared, like, what if I get more stalkers? What this, what that, And if I didn't have a neurological condition, I wouldn't even care, because I was such a badass and felt so tough, right? But because I instantly, go into paralysis and freeze and, seizures within a matter of minutes, it makes me feel more vulnerable, right? And so then that fear sets in, like, hey, I can't even protect myself, right? But you gotta rise above that. And I just tell the Lord, like, you're my protector. When I can't protect myself, like, you set angels aside me to protect me. And, for me to get into any fight with anyone, it'd be me bringing a knife to a gunfight, you know what I mean? And that's even if, a little kid wanted to fight me. But, and it's also a tactic of the devil, because, Dante's on probation and he's feeling like he has to defend me, and if he sees this guy harassing me in public, it might lead to a fight with him and my son, So that's also the devil's using it, because my son, Viana, his grandma, his sister, me, like, we're the people he protects most in the entire world. So if my son feels like, he's seen my reaction when I got home that day from when that guy first happened, and I walked in the house and the seizures and frazzled and yelling and freaking out, and so it's also a tactic of the devil to get my son involved and on defensive mode. And he felt he had to help be my protector when I was purely healthy, so now it's like quadrupled, and his friends are over every single day of my life too, so they feel very protective. They've seen me sick this whole year, right? So it's just like, you gotta realize there's always going to be attacks from the enemy to try to knock you off course, and that's just a sign that you're on the right course and to keep going and to pushing harder. So that's what I did physically with my exercise this morning. I'm just pushing in further to get my endurance up and stretch, because today's going to be mostly a bed day, but I'm going to try to take a second short walk later with Adam too. I found like a little new nook area to sit in. And whether I'm sitting here because I feel like I'm like half hiding or incognito and, still a little uncomfortable, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just a good spot for the day. I don't always know why I do the things I do, but God was so faithful last night, and Deanna had like the best night ever, and they got to sleep over at a friend's house, and I had to meet my son's Spanish teacher. I only got to meet her once a couple of years ago, and Deanna's like best friends with her son, and so that was really nice to get to meet in person. And she's like, "You're a miracle! Like, how are you here?" Because she knows Mom and stuff, so she knows about my health. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm still standing. I was even able to walk out of the place. It was, I looked as drunk as everyone else, even though I didn't touch a sip of alcohol. I was like, whoa, across my legs and wobbling, but I made it the whole entire time. That's the longest I've been out of bed in a year, and the longest I've stood in a year, and the first time in a public situation outside of church. So it started off scary, and I went to that autism brain and overstimulated and freaked the heck out. But once I was able to just get through that and all, it was a wonderful time. And then there was no shyness, no discomfort, and it just felt like I was normal again, you know. I couldn't go in the mosh pits, but so it was more just, you know, enjoying the show with my sister, and it was a good time. So, and you know, God just, He orchestrates everything in your life. And I spent a lot of time this morning just talking about all the topics at each city council meeting I'm going to bring up, and I went from feeling like nervous and scared to just feeling really excited, because it's topics I feel so passionately about, and if there's a possibility to make any of them happen, then it's just really, really, really exciting. You know, so I've been thinking more about that, because that's coming up on the 3rd, and today's gonna be a great day. You know, Adam's home from work, and he's cleaning up the house, and I'm doing my grounding. Oh, I stayed barefoot at the entire concert, which I know just made a lot of people cringe, but I was barefoot up until walking out at the very end, because it was outside. So there's something called grounding, and it helped me a significant amount at the concert, being barefoot the whole time, just having that sense of grounding, and just finding ways to make myself the most comfortable I could be, right? And that really worked. And the other thing that really worked is just like remembering, like, hey, you used to do this all the time. Hey, you love this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get back to like enjoying and loving all the things that you used to, and just now adapt. So I was able to overcome that and adapt to it, and deal with all the blinking lights and the smoke and tons of noise and crowds and being bumped into and all that perfectly fine, as if I was completely healthy. And my brain, after the initial autism phase and all, it snapped into my regular brain, you know. So it was a beautiful day, and today is going to be a beautiful day. But I'm going to just stop at the police station real quick and drop off that letter just so it's on file. And first I was going to drop it off, and then I wasn't going to, but because it references someone with a stay away order against him in it, now I'm doing it because I have to because of that, right? But the Lord's going to use this to strengthen me, because whatever the devil means for evil, God uses for good. So now it's just teaching me how to work through fear, keep my mind more still, and figure out, like, Ash, if you get afraid, or if you get this surge of emotion, or you hear something super upsetting, and when your blood gets filled with that cortisol, how do you silence it and bring it right back down, that you don't go into flare up, right? And that's the functional part of living with this disease, is you have to learn how to do certain things, and they're all very, very achievable, to the point that you could seem 100% healthy to every single person around you the majority of every single day. But it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of mental work. It's a lot of emotional work, you know, a lot of healing, and a lot of trust in God to just keep seeing you through. And you can't get nervous and anxious. You can't be afraid. You just got to keep being like, hey, God directs my steps. He orchestrates every single day, my divine connection, where I am, who I'm with. Like, if I've surrendered my life to Him, then I just gotta walk it out. I can't be afraid of things or this or that. And anything he calls you to do, you step into. And even if you feel like a chicken, you're like, hey, he wouldn't have me here. He wouldn't open this door. He wouldn't have placed me here if he thought I wasn't ready. And he knows more than us. So we might not ever feel ready for an occasion, but he knows when we are or aren't. So that goes to trusting his time, right? And you'll know when you feel that pull on your heart and it's God that he wants you to do something or approach someone or, and it was really cool. There was this person there and I felt like, I'm going to talk to her. And we talked and I was like, yeah, my prayer to God is to get the Xena warrior body. And she laughed and she goes, my mom's nickname is Xena and she has a tattoo of Xena on her. And she added me at Facebook and she travels around all around the world selling merchandise for concerts and stuff. But I don't know what it was about her. I just felt like I was supposed to talk to her, make that connection. And then once I mentioned Xena and she's like, yeah, my mom has that tattoo. She's instantly like, it was like a thing we bonded over. So that was cool. And it was a really good time, and even the times I got lost, because the dementia will kick in and anything unfamiliar, you're like, where am I? I don't remember nothing about nothing, and then that could surge your chemicals in your brain, because if you get anxiety or fear, it's going to shoot that up. So you just stay calm because everything comes in waves. And actually I have very exciting news. So when I was first really sick, and paralyzed and stuff, there was a point in time that for like 98% of the day it was like I had Down syndrome, or was like literally a little child, like, and there would just be moments, not even every day, that I would have my regular brain and thought processes, right, for months. And during that time, I wrote a poem one day because I was having seizures every 15 minutes back to back. Holy shit, a snake. Okay, I'm leaving these wooded areas. There are 2 of them. Sorry for cursing. Bye. All right, back into the public I go. 2, I didn't even know there were snakes around here. They're gardener snakes, but there were 2 of them, and I did not need their company this morning. They just scared the crap out of me. All right. I gotta gather my thoughts and figure out what I was talking about. And I'm just finding a new spot to sit without snakes. If that would have just crawled on me, you guys would have heard me scream. And I probably would have heard myself jumping up. So with like the dementia, my song. So when I was like in that like autism brain and Down syndrome and child brain, I couldn't get out of it at all. There was one day I just had like a little clarity and I jotted down a poem like super fast in like 2 seconds, just something for me to focus on. And I called it Riding the Wave because I was having seizures every 15 minutes, and then they'd last like, most of those 15 minutes, like 5-10 minutes, and it would just be like one lead to another, so it just kept ramping up. So after I wrote this poem, I sent it to my friend John, and I was just like, John, could you just sing these words so I could like listen to it, because I go in and out being able to read or vision. I lose my vision on and off, right? So he sent it to me, and when I was having seizures, I would just put that song on and just be like, all right, you're just riding the wave. It's going to come on. It's going to get stronger peak. You're going to stay at that peak for a couple minutes, but then it's going to come down. And my mom is now actually taking care of a professional musician. He's actually going to get baptized soon. The Lord is so good, And so I'm giving that song to him, and then he's gonna like write it to music and sing it. So I'm gonna share that with people because it really helped me just get through a lot of months. I play it on repeat over and over and over and over, and so that's the same thing with like dementia. when we go into that dementia, if you get freaked out and scared because you don't know where you are, or worried because you don't know where you are, you become more systematic and you go deeper into it. So you have to just be like, hey, this is a wave. Every single symptom that comes is a wave. And it's okay for a few minutes. I have no idea where I am. I don't know where I live. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how to get home. And you just sit and you just wait it out. And you're like, all right, I'm just going to walk around, look at things. You know what I mean? It'll come back to me. And then it comes back to you. And you're like, oh, yeah. But if you feel bad about it or get embarrassed or like freaked out, then you got a whole other problem, you know? But a lot of this stuff is just about being still like water, the emotional control. And that's what God is doing and refining me. But he's doing it in such a way because I have such a physical reaction that I'm hyper aware of any time I get a single worry or doubt or fear or anything. It instantly affects my body, right? So I'm able to be like, God, I cast my cares to you, you know, bye, I don't want it, you know. And learning to live in just that constant peace that passes all natural understanding, right? And mess with every flare-up. You know, if as you lock up, as you're having seizures, if you are like, oh my God, I'm so scared, I know how much this is going to hurt, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's just going to release more of that chemical, and it is going to hurt more, and you are going to get more, and they are going to last longer, and you have to be like, it's just a wave. I've had tens of thousands of these, just a seizure, you know what I mean? Or something's frozen, paralyzed, locked up, you know, my arms freeze up like this, that I can't use my hands, arms, or wrists. And you're just like, just wave. You just rock out like that for a little bit, and then it comes back to you as long as you stay calm, you know. So it's like a blessing in the disease to be forced into peace, and forced into emotional control and mental control, and being able to be still and refined and really find your inner peace and walk in that peace, and be able to do things when you're afraid because you have that peace, or do things you don't even know if you could do because you just have that peace. And peace also makes you bold and courageous because you could do anything with a calm mind. You know, people sit in ice water for pastimes that should kill you because they are able to control their minds enough, you know. So that's what, you know, every time the Lord shows me, Ash, this area flares you up, I'm like, all right, God, how are we going to heal that peace in me that leads to that flare up, you know? All right, God, like, how is it going to be that any stalker in the world or any predator in the world that I could be approached or feel threatened or be in an unsafe situation, that I have the peace that passes all understanding and walk with authority, and just like I stand with angels and I'm protected by my God, and I have a calling, and I'm not going, you know, to be dead or hurt or, sorry, I'm getting calls, before that calling is fulfilled. Yeah. Sorry, I keep getting calls. People spam call me back to back to back, which is a complete thing that crosses my boundaries and I hate, but it is what it is. So yeah, the Lord will teach you, even in those situations, how to just be like, I'm covered by angels, and to know, like, you know what, if I need to be safe, God's going to lay that on someone's heart and send them exactly where I am. Or, you know what I mean? When God's your protector, He's protecting you in the supernatural, and He works through people, and you don't have to walk around in fear, you know? You don't have to walk around of anxiety or the what ifs or the waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, you just walk in peace, knowing everything that happens is God's plan, you know what I mean? Every battle, every struggle is for His good. Because when you deal with the world, people, you know, people are ugly inside. There's a lot of evil. And there's trolls, there's bullies, there's predators. You're gonna get, you know, aggression. You're gonna get cursed out. You're gonna get made fun of. You're gonna be made to feel unsafe. You're gonna get stalkers. You're gonna deal with all of that. But God will rise you above that. as long as you don't let yourself be ruled by fear, you know what I mean? So, Exhibit A, the comment on my screen says, "What the fuck are you saying? You're sick, I think. Go to the doctor." And that's how their Lord works. Like, people could just try to say hurtful things, but you realize hurt people, and when somebody says something mean, it's something wrong with them, not something that's wrong with you. So you just shrug it off. Say, "Thank you, God, that I'm of a sound heart, that I'm not mean to people, and I'm not a bully, and I don't feel the need to hurt others or try to humiliate others. I get to walk with Jesus." So even at my lowest moments and levels of poverty and throughout all the Job season, it's a storm I never would have traded in, because of how close I've gotten to feel to God, how much He's taught me, how much He's refined me, how much He's still working in me, through me, how much He's empowering me with His armor to go out and speak to tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people and be unshaken, And recovery, it's a fight, Every day you're fighting for yourself. You're fighting for your life back. You're fighting to be able to achieve your destiny, right? You need a certain level of health to travel and do things. But if you keep fighting it, then God will see you through, But we're all our own worst critics, our worst enemies. Literally, the only people that could ever stop us is ourselves, because God can't move a parked car. Everything else He could do for you. He'll open every door, send every divine connection. He'll put you on the hearts of people. And then the people He puts you on the hearts of, they know, hey, God wants me working with you. Good morning, Sarah. I love that hat. They'll know, that they're being used as a vessel of God through you. So He'll put it on your heart and their heart. So it's mutual, and there's just that connection, right? And, God's been really good throughout all of this, and no growth comes without pain, but storms really are a blessing. And you want to keep praising as much as you can through it, because you really need to be thankful, because every day of your storm, He's making you better. He's making your life better. He's making the people in your life better. Every single day of your storm is a good day. So why would you sit there and curse Him when He's doing all this in your life, all this behind the scenes, raising you to new heights and levels? One of the things I love, because it's just like a visual and a feeling that I think most of the world could understand, is He sets like a plate for you at the table of your enemies. And to me, it's like when you're eating and you're all sitting at a table, that's when you're the most vulnerable, right? If like you're nervous, like on a first date or in a school cafeteria or something like that, to like eat or get food on your face and your teeth and stuff, and you have that nerves, it's like you don't eat as much, you eat slower, you might order something different, like not get spaghetti, even though that's what you're really craving, because you don't want to be slurping noodles, and you haven't mastered the spin on the spoon with the fork, you know what I mean? But you're so vulnerable when you're sitting at a table eating, so to be able to sit at a table with your enemies and just be chowing down, you know what I mean? And that's how God will make it. Like when you go into ministry or you become a speaker or you're doing anything for your community, when you have enemies or what the world calls haters or trolls or bullies or, people that speak like the person that just wrote, "What the fuck are you saying? You're sick, I think. Go to the doctor." When people do things like that, it's just going to teach you to be unshaken, because you can't stop your destiny because half the world is mean. You can't be bullied out of your destiny. You can't not help all the people you're called to help because you're scared your feelings are going to get hurt or you're going to get embarrassed, you know what I mean? Yeah, shake it off, like that song. Who sings it? Shake it off, shake it off. It's like, player's gonna play, 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 and that hater's gonna hate, 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 hate. Oh, crap. But yeah, you gotta just shake it off, you know what I mean? And, God will keep just strengthening you. And then, soon you just be unshakable in the full armor of God. And, you know, the longer I stay sick, the stronger I get. So I'm just like, all right, God, what are we doing today? You know what I mean? What are you teaching me? What do I have to experience? What do I have to go through? What do I have to learn? You know, things like that. But every day is a good day. There's no such thing as a bad day. There's bad moments. Sorry, I keep getting calls. There's bad moments in each day, but that doesn't make it a bad day, you know what I mean? Every day has something beautiful if you allow it, you know. I didn't want to leave bed. I ended my night, by the time I got back, seizures and Tourette's and losing all ability to walk and stand and move and just paralyzation and stuff. And that's what happens anytime I overwork my body. You know, I'm building up endurance, so I'm just gonna keep pushing it to the point that it physically shuts itself off and I can't, you know what I mean? But if my arms and my legs let me move, I'm moving, you know. That's the mentality you gotta have. Whatever I can do, I will do. So, you know, days I can't use my brain, I use my body. If I can't use my body, I use my brain. If I can't see that day, I listen. If I can't listen that day, I read, you know. You just work around your symptoms and you don't let any of them stop you and get like a defeatist attitude or throw a pity party. Because that's just filling yourself with negativity. And the better you feel mentally, the more you're able to do, the more empowered you feel, the more you push yourself. Everything is mental strength, you know. But you can't really have mental strength without God when you're suffering and going through so much pain and have such a long road ahead, you know what I mean? Because then mentally you're like, damn, this is gonna suck, you know? I have upcoming surgery, I'll probably be bedridden for a few months from that. But you can't be like, you just be like, you know what? That's one thing wrong with my body that's going to get removed. And when it heals, that's one less thing that's going to hurt. You know what I mean? Like, so there's like still clearing out of things and, you know, but it's all to be rebuilt, perfect health and strong, and then poof, like a butterfly. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to make that mission trip to Africa. I keep forgetting which part, and even if I go to say it, I'm probably going to sound super ignorant and butcher the words, so, but, that's like a big piece of my motivation too, of just, you know, my body needs to be a lot more fit to not be severely suffering in the air pressure change, or it will be a whole flight of seizures, non-stop, and those are really long flights, and a lot of, layovers and connecting flights, and you know what I mean? So I want to do it healthy and in good spirits and enjoyment, you know. So I'll get there. But I'm gonna take a walk home now. I'm just doing, it's like 7 blocks, so I'm just doing 14 blocks this morning, and then I'll take a walk with Adam later, because if I walk a little too much, I'm literally right here gonna just lose my ability, and someone's gonna have to carry me home. So that's it. I hope you guys got some like nuggets of wisdom this afternoon. I slept in, my body needed it, but everyone have a great weekend, you know. Try to just do something different. Being adventurous is so important. You know what I mean? The more adventurous you are, if you have an adventurous spirit, the more adventurous you are, the more it just like amps you up for life. And if you're introverted and not adventurous, then you can read like an adventurous book, or, you know what I mean? I I guess everyone's different. For me, I love adventure. I was thinking about the other day how I was always felt like cursed about moving so much. And it's been well over 40 moves. Well over 40 moves in my life. It's probably close to 60. Something like that. 50 maybe. But then I was sitting there thinking about Jesus the other day, and he never had a stationary home. He was always going from place to place to place to place to place. And, I think I looked at it as such a curse, but it was a blessing to, like, I was like a rolling stone. Song Papa is a rolling stone. Wherever he leaves his hat is his home. That's how I felt, because it was just, we never hung family pictures because it's just move. So this is the first apartment I'm hanging family pictures in and just making it homey, and a very healing environment, and I forgot what I was saying with that. There was like a whole point to it. My mind's a little bit scattered this morning. I don't know what I just said, so moving on. But I wish I could remember, but I'm not even gonna stress it, because I found if you try to remember what you forget, it's just not even good. Just let it go. If it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I've just learned to live with that too. Like, I could be mid-thought, mid-conversation. Like, sometimes the dementia is within, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes it's like a reset each day, or, it could just vary depending on how the nerves are shooting at the moment. So I used to be like, darn it, you know what I mean? But now I'm just like, if I forgot it, I forgot it. If it comes back, comes back. If it don't, oh well. You just let it go, People, worry too much. They hold on to things too tightly, you know what I mean? You don't have to really... It's not a big deal if you forget things when you're talking. It's not a big deal, even when we age, we go through all these things and people get so frustrated, I'm so forgetful now, or I'm so clumsy, or and it's like, so what? You know what I mean? We all get to those levels. All at different times and different seasons, but what does it actually really matter? It's words, it's thoughts, it's, it's a fleeting thought, whether you remember, forget, so, people are hard on themselves, I know, because I was super hard on myself, but once I learned to not be so hard on myself, it actually enabled me to love myself a lot more, because it takes away self-criticism. It takes away, false pressure. It takes away inadequacy. It takes away that perfectionist mindset, or that it could have always been better, or, everything you do, you have to do the best of your ability. Nothing could just be like, all right, that's good enough, It takes all that away, and you could just be more kind to yourself, more accepting of your shortcomings, more thankful for the things you do well, and just makes you accept yourself more, which makes you love yourself more, gives you a better life, more peace, got more tranquility too, all the stuff that we hold against ourselves every day. And I say everyone has this worry clock on the back of their mind that is always going, it's always thinking about a million things, even as you're talking, as you're doing this or that. There's a million what ifs that are never going to play out, but a lot, you're over analytical, you think about all possible outcomes because you want to feel prepared or ready. There is no real prepared and ready, in the world. It's just a process, everything. And they say life is what happens when you're busy making plans, you know what I mean? Some people's plans pay off and they work, but a lot of them don't go according to plan. Most of us are not exactly where we thought we'd be or wanted to be, living the life we want at this age of our stage, most people, you hit a certain age, if you're unmarried, you're like, meh, and it's just like a thing. Like, I'm this age and I've never been married and I'm still waiting, or if you haven't bought your house yet, or all these like things you're waiting on and haven't gotten to do, and you think about and work towards. And God really teaches us that we have to be ready once you surrender. If he's like, yeah, shoot over to Zimbabwe, shoot there, that we can't be like, I don't want to leave my home, or we can't be attached to materialism and homes and things like that. And last night it was really freeing because Adam gave me some money and Mom gave me some money to spend at the concert. And I was walking around and there's all the different foods and all the different drinks. And, I used to be a drinker. Like, if I had like a good dinner, like I would want wine with it, or I'd pair certain meals. Like, I couldn't eat Japanese food without a Sapporo, a Japanese beer, And when I went to concerts, I've never not had a couple drinks at a concert, not once in my life. And then yesterday, I'm walking around, I didn't have the single temptation to buy a drink. I didn't have the single temptation of any food, any dessert, any merchandise, nothing. I didn't spend $1. And I drank water from the water fountain. And when God took, not when he took, but when I went through a period that I couldn't tell the difference between hot and cold. I couldn't any longer enjoy like a warm bath, or like if you're cold, you can't get warm. And if you're warm or if you're hot, you can't get cold. Like, you can't make yourself comfortable by putting more blankets on or taking them off or taking a hot shower or a hot bath. Like, you can't get comfortable with your skin. You can't get comfortable with feeling all the food tasted like fake food, like everything was clay. And then I'd also get seizures every time I ate, so it took away all enjoyment of food. Then there's the money thing. You can't order in anything and be like, I'm craving Chinese or this or that. And it just took away all the things, like the earthly desires. And a lot of people, when they get to concerts, they're like, I need a blooming onion or cheese fries, or, I need a cold beer. And we're driven by like always having these like cravings for certain foods, or I want this or I want that. And to walk around and be like, I'm so content. I'm not tempted by anything. I don't even want it. And especially